My name is Harkaran Gill, and the poem I chose for this summative is In Flanders Field because it is a war poem. War poems and war poets were a major chunk of this course, which is why I chose it instead of a story or an article. Poetry should come from the heart, and this one definitely did, because the poet wrote it after his friend's death. In Flanders Fields, which was written during World War One, and it is the most notable poem from that time. It was composed at the battlefront on May 3rd, 1915, during the Second Battle of Ypres, Belgium. This is a lyric poem in the format of French rondeau. A rondeau consists of three stanzas with 15 lines. Line 9 and 15 are the same, that is, they make up a refrain. Line 9 occurs at the end of the second stanza, and line 15 at the end of the third stanza. These lines are very short and rhyme only with each other and not with any other lines. A rondeau, all lines except 19 and 50 generally contain 8 syllables each. Jean Maigret wrote this poem in the first person plural, using our and we to indicate that the speakers are the war dead. The author Jean Maigret wrote this poem a few days after his friend and a German shell killed from student Alex Helmler. A few hours after Helmler's funeral, Maigret went and sat down on the back of the ambulance where he began to write In Flanders Fields. In this poetry unit, we learned about imagery and symbols, which this poem had a lot of. This poem uses many instances of symbolism and imagery to convey the main idea to the reader. In the first line, it says, In Flanders Fields the poppies blow. The poppy is known as a symbol of sleep. The last line, we shall not sleep through poppies grow, point to this fact. Some kinds of poppies were used to grow opium, from which morphine can be made. Morphine is one of the strongest painkillers and was often used to put a wounded soldier to sleep. Poppies were also the only plant that grew in the Western Front during the war. The poem paints us a picture of rows and rows across with poppies coming up between them. Birds are flying overhead while guns go off, booming the dead. The poet then creates imagery that the people are all dead beneath the crosses, but not long ago had been alive. They had been real with love eyes that had seen the dawn. The theme in Flanders Field poem is that the death of John Maigret wrote it expressing sorrow. It had become the most popular poem of World War One, being translated into many languages. The poem is about dead soldiers who pass on, leaving the duty to continue the fight and the horror of war, while the strong and brave go on with their everyday living.